reference. So like in the syllabus of the satellite communication, in our previous lectures, we have already talked about basically the orbital parameters, orbital perturbations, geostationary orbit, three-axis stabilization, antenna look angles. We talked about the antenna mounts, limits, visibility, earth eclipse of satellites, sun transit outage, we talk about that, inclined orbit, sun synchronous orbit, launching of geostationary satellite. As a conclusion, this all includes the things which are related with the orbits. It means you are on Earth and satellite is in orbit. So first of all, we need to understand about basically the parameters of this orbit. So we worked on that and we talked about what are the basic parameters and attributes related with this orbit. So this was the very first target we covered up. Then we moved on between Earth and satellite. See, very important. So we talked about the orbit. So satellite is in orbit. So between Earth and satellite, there is something which is called as a medium. That medium is an atmosphere or a space. So we have to talk about basically about all consideration and all attributes of the atmosphere. So we started talking about these all atmospheric attributes, losses, propagation effects, effects of cloud, effect of rain, effect of something. Like so many things are there which may include their own participation while we are talking about the communication between satellite and Earth. So we talked about the orbit first, we talked about in between, then we come up on the Earth, on the satellite, who is responsible for this communication? This is antenna. So we talked about basically the broad sense antenna, what kind of antennas may be used. So we just gone through that. But parabolic reflectors are definitely widely used. It's so much important. So we just took care about that. Then we moved on that what exactly the parameter by which the frequencies are being allocated, because it's important until and unless we are not deciding the applications on the based on the frequency. And who is the one going to give us frequency that you have a satellite, you just start communicating? There's a chance, there's a proper chance that in between that there may be an interference. So to just avoid all these kind of interference, to avoid all kind of a regulatory authorities, there should be, I have already told that this is ITU who decides the basically International Transmission Union is there, which decides that what particular frequency is used for what kind of application. So if you're picking up some satellite for a specific application, you have to go for that frequency. This is basically all about related with the frequency. So now moving next, which is the unit number 3. In the unit number 3, we are just moving up and try to understand what exactly the way of having link designing process. So we are looking to create a link designing process, and let's see what exactly the way of this one. So here in this section, we are going to work on the designing of link. So how we are going to do this? Let's see this. As we are going to start, we are going to move on here. So that's important. Let's begin with what exactly we are going to study today. So basic transmission theory, because link design is the basically a process, is a phenomena by which a satellite and an Earth-based station starts establishing communication. Because until and unless you create a link, because suppose, just take an example. If suppose you are talking to your friend on telephone, so first of all, you have to dial a number, and that number rings somewhere and that acknowledges that frequency, and that person is picking up the phone. Then you start, hello, hi, are you the same one whom I'm just looking for, and the one who should I just talk upon? So all these things are calling as a link setup. So once the link is set up, then you start talking about yourself and what happened in the class of the satellite communication is like that. So this is all about the setting up of a link. So first of all, we have to go for basic transmission theory, system noise temperature, design of downlinks, and design of uplink design, design of satellite links for specified C by N. So channel noise we are looking for. So first of all, we should go to just work upon this. What exactly the link design process. Let's start this one. So first of all, let's talk about basic transmission theory. What it tells us: the calculation of power received by an Earth station from a satellite is a fundamental to the understanding of a satellite communication. It's more important. So until and unless we have this one, like if suppose we are working and we don't have an idea that what will be the power. So this power is a very important part. So the calculation of power received by earth station, that's important, key point. So every communication which is coming from the satellite, it depends on first what depends on earth station. What is the power it is being received? So this is a very common formula of free space, which is basically called as a Friis transmission formula. We all have already gone through that. So let's say if suppose consider a transmitting source in a free space radiating a total power PT. We assume that this is a PT power in watts, uniformly in all the direction. So this is the power transmitting in free space in all the direction. Such source is called isotropic. We know that. If suppose such kind of a power is distributed all around, then it is called as an isotropic. So we have just taken a very simple example. Just take it first point. We assume there is an isotropic source which is radiating power what? PT. So PT is a uniform power in each and every direction. It means if looking for 30-degree angle, looking for 0-degree angle, looking for 90-degree angle, it at every point, at every location, you have this PT power. So this PT power is here, which is to be used as a radiating power. If suppose someone is looking to distance r from isotropic source, flux density. So this is called as a basically the power per unit area. This is called as a flux density. See, power is here, but power is uniform to everywhere. No, it's not like that. If it is being radiated PT from the source and reaching up to a r distance, would it be PT? No, it won't be PT. It will be reduced. Why? Because we have some factors. We have some factor which crosses the losses. So losses are the main factor, responsible factor, which creates such kind of a situation. So this formula tells you if PT is a power, it starts radiating from the source, then it's called PT and divided by the 4 pi r square. And 4 pi r square is nothing but area of sphere. So this is area of a sphere which is being created. So every point of r distance apart, you have a circle complete. Every distance from r distance apart will be creating a certain loss. So we are taking just this example. You can understand by this one easily. Just take here. So we have here a source. We have a distance r that has been taken r in meters. And here we taken the area of some surface. Like it's a football-like structure. It's very simple. It's not a tough thing. Suppose you have a football and you are lying an isotropic source on the center, like a bulb. You're creating a bulb at the center. So bulb will start radiating at all the points. So it will be covering all the internal surface of the football. So football is like that structure. So one of the part has been taken because r is the radius. So this is the surface area we have just taken. So that kind of a radiation has been taken, and this is called as a flux, which is depending upon basically on which area it is coming up. In unit direction, it is PT, but depending upon the different areas, it will be changing continuously. So this kind of a power will come. And this power will be converted to the PR, which is to be taken up by the receiver. So if we go here, this is a very common formula. I'm not going to drive this again. So this PR is depending upon F and area. For what area you are looking for? Because flux is nothing per unit power. Flux is nothing but per unit power. So if you have calculated the per unit power, that means you have already calculated a per unit power. So if area is given, per unit area power is given. So if area is given, you can easily multiply that per unit area power. So you can find out what will be the power will be falling on this area. That's a very simple process. See, so it's a very simple. You have total power radiated. You have calculated per unit area power. Now you are finding out this is my area. What will be the power over this area? So you can easily find out that this is the area. Multiplied with this area, you would be able to get the power. And you know, this is exactly the main cause why the antennas used in the satellite will have a parabolic reflectors. Because the reason is here, if we have a parabolic reflector, we are increasing this area. So per unit power falling on antenna will be increased if you are increasing this area because flux is multiplied with this area. So if you are having a large area, obviously you have a great chance to receive more power. This is exactly the mean of this one. So this is a very common and previously studied formula many times that this is PR equals to PT GT A 4 pi R square, which is basically also called as a Friis transmission formula. So this phase transmission formula tells us if we have a transmitter here, we have a receiver here, and they are r distance apart. So what will be the value of this received power at this receiver? So this depends on what? First of all, this depends upon gain of this antenna. This depends upon gain of this antenna, transmitter antenna gain, receiver antenna gain. Then it depends upon the distance between these two. It's important. It depends upon what is the frequency you are using for. Some of the frequency may travel longer distance, some of the frequency may travel less distance. So this is also the phenomena. So all these phenomena here, if you see, so finally you have this formula PT, GT, GR, 4 pi R, lambda square. So PT is the power transmitted, GT is the gain of the transmitting antenna, GR is the gain of the receiving antenna, 4 pi R lambda square is called as a loss factor. So this loss 4 pi R, so if you are increasing the distance, there is a great chance of a loss. So if you are increasing the value of this lambda, if you are increasing this value of the lambda, so this lambda comes in a denominator part and reducing this whole one. So lambda is depending upon the frequency, and frequency will be coming up here. So all these factors decides what will be the total power reached at the receiver. So I hope so this is might be very much clear for you all. So simple talk is here, nothing I'm doing. I'm simple taking two antennas. Two antennas are r distance apart. Distance r, very good. Second, gain GT, gain of the transmitting antenna, gain of the receiving antenna, two factor. Third factor, frequency what you are using. And fourth factor, what is the aperture of receiving antenna? Aperture is the area. Larger the aperture, if you see here, larger the aperture, you have a great chance of receiving more power. So if you see here, the term 4 pi upon lambda whole square is called as a path loss. So that path loss happens if suppose you are just having such a situation in the satellite also. So satellite is also r distance apart. So once it is r distance apart, definitely it takes some losses because of its path. So that is being basically created with the losses. So if you see here, that kind of a loss equation can be written also in the form of dB. So ultimately our target is just only to understand that if free space is there, then definitely from starting to ending, in between that there may be a losses. And that losses also depends upon the temperature, system noise and temperature. So we go back and find out this equation also. So first of all, path loss is there, then we are talking about the system noise and temperature. So we know that always there is a heat, there is a temperature, whenever there is a signal, there is a flow of current, that is create the noise, radiations. Heat always create radiations, and this radiations comes in free space, and the free space radiations are unwanted signal. What are they? They are the unwanted signal. So once they are the unwanted signal, then in situation that may create the interference. So if we see here, noise temperature provides a way of determining how much thermal noise is generated by active and passive devices in the receiving system. And we know that, so whenever radiation is there, whenever signal is there, temperature keep on rising. So if someone is capable to read out that temperature with the help of this relationship, one can easily find out what is the power of unwanted noise signal. So generally, this noise can be calculated with the help of calculation of a temperature. So this temperature calculation help us through this relationship Pn. It's definitely the noise power. It depends upon Boltzmann constant. It depends upon temperature, and is definitely what kind of a power is being generated that has been decided by this one. So here is the basically the taken as a B as a noise bandwidth. So all these three factors are deciding this one. See how we can go for calculation of this noise. So if you go for here, so you will be find out a very simple block diagram. This block diagram helps you to understand that. Suppose that we have certain temperature which is the Tn, and we are having a TRF. Noiseless RF amplifier. We have an amplifier and it is providing a certain gain. When this coming up here, we are having an equivalent noise sources, some equivalent noise sources there. See, some noise is being generated and some noise sources are there. Noiseless mixer is there that mixes the noise. Not It's basically a noiseless. It is having its own gain. Then intermediate frequency comes up and noiseless intermediate amplifier. So all these factors will be deciding a total power, and it is making the system free from this one. So if somebody is looking to find out the total power, which can be calculated through this whole equation, which is deciding what kind of an intermediate frequency gain is there, what is basically the bandwidth, what is the intermediate temperature, and all about that. So it's not like going much about that. We are coming third factor, which is the noise figure. So first is what? Path loss. Because we see what we are doing here is very important. Until and unless you understand what we are doing, why we are studying all this one, you won't be able to understand all these small topics. What we are doing, we are going to design a link between satellite and Earth. So once we are going to design this satellite link, we have to take care about few things. First of all, how much far it is. So far it is, we have to take care about the path losses. Second, we have to check out if suppose it is far distance apart, many other factors may be there and that may create a noise. So that noise can be calculated through the noise temperature. So that is another factor. In that condition, we have to check one more figure which is very important, which is called as a noise figure. So this is a third parameter. We are going to design this link. Noise figure is used to specify the noise generated within the device. So this helps you. This is a simple mathematical calculation. This helps you. This is the amount of a noise in a system. That's it. How we can calculate this? So this noise figure can be calculated signal to noise ratio input and signal to noise ratio of output. So by this equation you can easily find out how much noise signal to noise ratio is there, how much signal to noise ratio is for the device at input, and how much is the output. So remaining part, that ratio part, will tell you what is the noise figure, what is the noise ratio generated by the device. So this is exactly, again I'm just saying, suppose that you have a phone with you, and under this phone, if suppose signal is coming, so this signal has its own signal to noise ratio, then you are having certain output. It has its own signal to noise ratio. And what this device is doing, that can be calculated with the ratio of input and as well as output. So that will be calculated what this device is creating. So this is very important factor. Noise figure should have a tolerance range, and if it has a tolerance, then it can easily be managed. So this all we have here. We have all calculated system temperature. We have already gone through that. We have calculated this one. And then after noise figure we talked about, and the noise temperature. If directly you're looking to find out the temperature of a noise, you have a relationship. By this relationship, you have a noise figure. And if you have a noise figure, you have a T equals to T naught NF minus 1. With the help of this, you can easily find out the relationship for the noise temperature. That can be easily be done. G by T ratio, it means the link equation can be written in terms of C by N. So now we are looking for this one. So C by N. So it means we are looking to find out the overall. So if you see here, this is the main equation that we have already taken up. In this equation, one additional parameter has been introduced, which is KTSBL. It means this particular has come because of the temperature. This is again the very same path loss. So we are looking for having a channel, as well as we are looking for the noise, calculating this ratio, and we would be able to get, just a minute. We would be able to get this equation. So if you see here, this is a very same equation. We have only introduced one parameter, which is the KTSBL. So this is basically the factor which has been introduced because of the noise. Because in the previous equation, this equation, we were talking only about the path losses. We did not talk about the noise temperature. We did not talk about the noise interferences, but that has come up here. So that's why this equation has been modified like in this way. So it has become PT, GT, KBN, lambda upon 4 pi square, GR upon TS. So all these factors, so you have to take care about all these factors. What is the transmitted power? What is the gain of an antenna? Transmitting antenna. What is the gain of a receiving antenna? What is basically the frequency, which is depending on lambda? What is the distance between them? Boltzmann constant, and what bandwidth you are looking for. So bandwidth of noise. What is the bandwidth of noise? All these factors decides here. Done. So this is a very important equation. You can easily tell us like this way. Now looking to design this downlink. So going for this one, like first of all, we have to go for the designing of any satellite communication is based on two objectives. Meeting a C by N ratio. C by N, it means channel capacity, which is the channel capacity, and the noise. What exactly the capacity of our channel is there and what is the available noise on that channel. So we have to take care about this CN by N ratio for a specified percentage of time. For a particular period of time, what is the CN by ratio on this particular channel? Carrying the maximum revenue earning traffic at the minimum cost. That's also important because we are not launching the satellites for just only for the entertainment purpose. This satellite is for some business purpose because it is providing services, and once it is providing services, definitely is generating revenue. So that's more important. Carrying the maximum revenue earning traffic at the minimum cost. Low cost, maximum revenue. Any satellite link can be designed with very large antenna to achieve high C by N. So using a large antennas, you can easily improve the C by N ratio under all conditions, but the cost will be high. Using a large antennas, you would be able to, if suppose you have a large number of antennas, you are having a large number of parabolic dish reflectors, you are having a base stations, large data points, so that all can easily, I must say that can easily make your system more effective, more create a high utility. But obviously, at the very same time, it happens that at that position, you will be paying a large cost for a service. So if suppose you're talking about the GPS service, which you feel almost is free for you, you're not paying anything for the GPS service. And during the GPS service, if you say we are paying a lot, a person who is just dealing with this one will be just having a lot of installation cost, a lot of maintenance cost, then it's not seems good. Okay. The art of good system design is to reach the best compromise of system parameter that meets the specification at the lowest cost. So designing here, that's important talk. So designing means it requires what? Low cost management. It requires what? Low cost management. So this is the basically the low cost system. So this is important while we are looking for. So one has to go for this link budget analysis. So while you're looking and moving to design a particular downlink or uplink design, so we have to go for this link budget analysis. So what is that link budget analysis? Let's go for this. This link budget analysis basically is a CN by ratio calculation simplified by the use of link budget. A link budget is a tabular method of evaluating the receive power and noise power. What is the power received and the noise? Link budgets invariably use decibel unit for all quantities so that signal and noise power can be calculated by addition and subtraction. So it is simply doing nothing. It is a tabular form. It is calculating what is the receive power and what is the noise power. Link budget will help you to calculate all the values with the help of simple addition and subtraction. Since it is usually impossible to design a satellite link at the first attempt, link budget makes a task much easier because once a link budget has been established, it is easy to change any of the parameter and recalculate the results. So while you're talking about this, so this link budget table is basically helping you to design this one. So let's check it out. This is one of the example of calculation of this one. So C-band geostationary satellite link budget in clear air. So in clear air condition is there. So if suppose this air is not clear, then definitely the situations may be different. So talking about all these parameters, if you see, it's too much interesting. C-band satellite parameters, transponder 20 watt, antenna gain 20 dB, transponder bandwidth 36 megahertz, download frequency 3.7 to 4 gigahertz, signal FMTV, signal FMTV signal bandwidth, minimum permitted overall CN by N receiver 9.5 dB, receiving C-band earth station, receiving C-band earth station, download frequency 4 gigahertz, antenna gain on access 4 gigahertz, receiver intermediate frequency, receiving system noise temperature, downlink power budget analysis, satellite power 13 dB watt, transfer output back of this. So ultimately I'm reading all this one for you, but that exactly means only the one thing that if suppose such kind of a tabular summary is here, the tabular summary help you to understand what is the losses, what are the things, what power you require. It's a very simple phenomenon. Like suppose you are having something like suppose something is there at your home and you want to transport it from one place to another place. So you have to check first of all what are the things, whether these things are valuable or not. Yeah, suppose you are shifting some item from one place to another place, so you have to check what is the value of all these items, whether shifting is more cheaper, or you are, suppose you are in hostel and you want to take back your all the things to back to your home. So somebody is like in Shubham, is Jambu, and then looking for that, if suppose I'm just bringing one truck, one carrier here, so putting all these will be cheaper, or the truck carrying it all will be cheaper. So first factor. Second factor, what kind of a transportation system I do require. So this is exactly the link budget. If suppose you are setting up the budget, the same thing happens here. So what are the parameters required? What are the important things are required? What are the minimum requirements are there, so that you use only the minimum thing and you can easily transport your signal from earth station to satellite. This is exactly the meaning of link budget analysis. I hope so. Through this link budget analysis, you all might be able to understand that properly and effectively. So expecting this might be a good option. So you just take it carefully, read it, and once you feel that you have some sort of a doubts and confusion, then you may ask these things to me. Meanwhile, I'm just making this session till now open for all to ask the question. Any doubt if you feel, you can ask to me. So here in this today's lecture, I'm just concluding what we have just taken up. In this lecture, we had a target to understand what are the things which decide establishment of a link between Earth and a satellite. So before going to set up a link, we have to take care about all the losses, all the services that we are going to provide, minimum requirement of power, and so many other factors are there which are deciding the channel and noise ratios. So overall, all these things help you to create a kind of a table, that if you create such kind of a table, then on the behalf of that table, at a minimum cost, which is most important, at a minimum cost, one can establish a best link which provides the maximum services. This is exactly the motive and the target of today's session. I hope so you all got it properly. So let's see you again in the next one.